Welcome to KDSV Knowledge Studio. Today we are diving into an essential skill for QA engineers, must-know queries for testing and validation. Also, please stay till end of this video to find out what is coming up next in KDSV Knowledge Studio. Query language for QA engineers is a very important skill set to become a complete tester. Whether you are performing manual testing or automation does not matter here. SQL is your best friend when it comes to working with databases. Without SQL, you are blind to understand what is happening in your application's brain, that is database. So today I'm going to cover following topics. Why SQL matters for QA, type of test where SQL can be used, with an example to help you understand the concept. What is next in KDSV Knowledge Studio? As a QA engineer, your role is not just about clicking buttons or reporting the bugs. It is all about understanding how the application works in and out. And that is where SQL becomes a game changer for us. SQL or structured query language is a language of databases, and almost every modern application stores its data in a relational database. Here is why SQL is so important for QA engineers. For example, backend testing. Using SQL, we can validate if the data is correctly saved after the front-end operation. Data validation. You can compare UI data with actual data saved in the database records. Also, test data preparation. There may be some time we may need to insert, update, or delete data directly to the setup test cases. Maybe for manual testing, or automated testing, or for performance testing. Next one, debugging and troubleshooting. You can understand the app behavior by querying logs or transactional tables. You will often spot patterns, broken logic, or missing data by querying directly. It does not end. Automation support as well. You can use SQL in automated test scripts, for example, Selenium plus SQL for fetching the data and validation. Report validation. You can cross-check the reports against the raw data by fetching the data using SQL. Let me explain all these points with some use cases and examples. The first example is ETL testing. ETL stands for extract, transform, load, and it is all about moving and shaping your data. Extract means get data from the different sources, database or files or API. Transform means clean, convert, and restructure the data into the right format. Load means insert into the final destination like data warehouse or reporting system. QA engineers test this pipeline to ensure data accuracy, consistency, and integrity. And guess what? SQL is your superpower here. Let's walk through a quick real-world example of how you will use the SQL in the ETL testing. Imagine this scenario. Your company collects sales data in the sales database. Every night, the data is transformed and loaded into the reporting database, which feeds dashboard used by top management. As a QA engineer, your job is to verify that the ETL process accurately moved and modified the data, and SQL gives you the power to ensure that your data pipelines are trustworthy and accurate. Next one, data migration testing. Let's talk about another key area where SQL becomes super important for QA engineers. Data migration happens when your company moves from one database system to another. Maybe it's moving from MySQL to PostgreSQL or from on-premises servers to the cloud. Unlikely ETL testing, here the data is not supposed to be changed. It should be copied exactly as it is. As a QA engineer, your job is to make sure nothing was lost, altered, or duplicated during the move. Data migration is high stakes. If even one record is lost, it could affect reports, analytics, and user experience. With SQL, you can validate the integrity, completeness, and accuracy of the every pieces of migrated data without relying on the guesswork. So please remember, ETL testing transforms the data, but migration testing ensures it's copied perfectly. In this case, SQL helps you verify both with precision. Let's take an example. Imagine a company is upgrading its HR system. All employee data is being migrated from outdated HR database to new modern one. As a QA engineer, your job is to make sure that data has been copied exactly without any loss or change. And SQL is your best tool for that. You can do this random samples using SQL joins and scripts, compare the entire tables for mismatches. This process helps you ensure the data completeness, accuracy, and trust in the system. Also, data migration is more than just copying. It is about preserving the integrity of the every record, and SQL makes sure that happens with the precision. Let's now explore one more critical use cases where SQL can be used. Data integration testing. Data integration happens when information from multiple sources merged into single database or dashboard. Here, your job as a QA engineer is to verify that is merged data is accurate, consistent, and complete. And how do you do that? With SQL. SQL helps you extract, compare, and verify the data across multiple sources or system or integrated components. Let's say your company is integrating customer data from three different systems: a CRM system with customer names and IDs, a sales system with order history, a support system with the ticket records. You need to make sure that each customer in the final integrated database has all the relevant sales and support information linked properly. Another very important topic which every QA engineers need SQL helps for debugging the issues. Debugging with SQL, it's a QA superpower. Testing is not just about reporting bugs. Even it is all about solving them, and that's why SQL is a game changer when it comes to debugging. Say your app displays wrong order total on the screen, your automation test fails. Now it is your job to find out why. This is where SQL comes in and look behind the scene and trace the issues all the way to the database. SQL helps you debugging missing or corrupted data, incorrect joins or mismatched keys, or transaction not being committed correctly, data overwritten by wrong update. So next time if someone asks, why do you QA engineers need SQL? Just say this: because real testers do not just find bugs, they find the reason behind them as well. Let's take a real world example to understand how SQL can help us in debugging the bugs that are not easy to see. Imagine you are testing backend application and user complains saying, I transferred 5,000 rupees yesterday, but I don't see it in my transaction history. As a QA engineers, your job is not just to say that the transaction is missing. You have to figure out why it is missing. Sometimes backend inconsistencies like wrong balance can block the transaction, but user won't see the reason actually. By querying the database directly, you can uncover the root cause, whether it is missed insert or failed transaction or logic error in the backend processing. This is why every QA engineers need SQL knowledge, because when UI lies, the database always tells the truth. Debugging with SQL makes you complete tester, and even every dev wants on their team. Let's move on to the next topic: performance testing. When we talk about SQL for QA engineers, most people think of functional testing. But did you know that SQL can also be used for performance testing? In large systems, database often store millions of rows. If queries are not optimized, your application can slow down or even time out. Use SQL queries to investigate performance bottlenecks, check slow queries using the logs and monitoring tools, identify the missing indexes, detect table scan that slow everything down. Also compare query times before and after optimization. So if you are working with big data reporting system or real-time analytics, SQL is not just helpful, it is essential for performance testing. And the best part, you don't need to be a DBA to use these tools. As a QA engineers, you can pinpoint performance issues before even user notice them. Let's take a real world scenario. A social media platform with millions of users logging in, posting contents, and liking the post at the same time from all over the world. Your job as a QA engineer is to make sure that database can handle all this load smoothly. And guess what? You can use SQL to check how it is performing under pressure. Also, performance testing outcomes you can validate with the SQL. Query response time under high traffic, index efficiency on the frequently accessed tables, database health during the concurrent operations, also load test results against the expected benchmark. So in a platform where speed is everything, like a social media app, SQL helps you make sure the backend performance keeps up with user expectation. And that's why every QA engineers should know how to use SQL, not just to check the if something works, but to see if works fast even. Let's say when a data is used in SQL statement, there is a risk of security vulnerability called SQL injection. This is one of the most dangerous and common attacks out there. And that's the reason why we need to understand the security testing as well. A SQL injection attack lets hacker manipulate an SQL query to gain unauthorized access to the sensitive data like password, credit card numbers, or even full database control in your organization. As a QA engineer, it's your job to ensure the application is secure against these attacks. SQL injection testing is a critical part of QA security testing, and knowing how to craft small, safe SQL based test cases can protect real users from the real threats. Let's take an example. A login form that asks for a username and password, but what if attacker tries to bypass the authentication by submitting the specifically crafted input? As a tester, you can simulate this attack to check if the application is vulnerable. If it lets you in, the app has a serious security hole. To prevent this, the developer should use parameterized queries or prepared statements so inputs are treated safely as the data, not executable code. This example shows why testing for SQL injection is vital to protect your application and its user. Hello subscribers, we got something big coming your way. Our brand new series on database fundamentals every QA engineer must know. Whether you are beginner or just want to strengthen your core SQL skills, this series will cover everything you need to know from basic concept to hands-on query writing. Get ready to learn what is database really means, DBMS, RDBMS concepts, tables, rows and columns, also primary and foreign key concepts. If you found this video helpful, hit that like button to support the channel. Your feedback matters. Let me know in the comments how this video helpful to you, or if you have any questions or suggestions or any other feedback for me. Please do not forget to subscribe to KDSV Knowledge Studio. Please share with your friends and families. Thank you so much.